Well, folks, we're live from the WFCU Center sideline, moments away from the Windsor Express taking on the Niagara River Lions. Welcome, everyone, to Knockstrom.tv. I am Brett Hedges. He is Kobe K. And Kobe, the Windsor Express are riding a 4-game winning streak. Meanwhile, the London Lightning are 5-11 after a little bit of a rough patch for them.
Yeah, the Windsor Express are playing great basketball right now. We all know that. And this is really best case scenario in terms of the scheduling. They play Friday here at the WFCU Center. They are spectacular on both ends of the floor. They get a day's rest, and we're back here today to celebrate Family Day.
And absolutely, it should be a great crowd here at the WFCU Center. The Niagara River Lions have 10 days of rest, so it can be a matter of rest versus rest for the Niagara River Lions.
Yeah, this Niagara River Lions group, it's been interesting. I mean, they were early favorites in a lot of people's opinion, and there have been some struggles and growing pains. They've struggled on both ends of the floor, only scoring about 96 points per game, and that's good for 10th, and then allowing opposing teams to score 107. So they're a minus 12, but this group is full of talented figures, including Kirk Williams Jr., who's scoring almost 17 points per game. He gets you almost 7 boards at about 44% of the field with about a steal and a half. So look for him to be dynamic tonight.
Of course, Kirk Williams Jr., as a member of the Windsor Express, was a former league finals MVP. And of course, Chris Commons coming back to the WFCU Center for the first time this year. He has a number of Windsor Express records, including games played. He was the first player to score 1,000 points. So a lot of sentiment towards Chris Commons here.
Absolutely, and I think both Kirk Williams Jr. and Chris Commons know Coach Bill Jones. They know this system, so who better to help the Niagara River Lions prepare than two Windsor Express veterans?
Absolutely, and someone else that's going to be helping them out tonight is Sammy Ziglinski, a dynamic player. He can get you a triple-double every time he's on the floor.
Yeah, almost 12 points, almost 7 assists, good from the three-point line. A floor general in his own regard. Going to be interesting to see he and Darren Duncan battle it out today.
Absolutely, and Darren Duncan has been phenomenal since coming back for the Windsor Express. He's really been helping the Windsor Express shooters like Clinton Springer and Warren Ward, Wally Ellenson. The three-ball really been working well for Windsor.
Certainly, but the assist number is the thing that I like the most. Windsor going from the basement in terms of team assists to fourth at almost 24 a game. So it should be no surprise that this team is on a 4-game win streak.
What are some of your X factors here tonight, Kobe? What may help the Niagara River Lions break this slump and get them a win after a 10-day rest?
Well, for the Niagara River Lions, they got to defend the rim better. They're allowing opposing teams to shoot at 48%. And if they're going to get a victory here, I think that's got to be better. And as well, controlling the early Windsor Express surge that will be coming, as we have seen them amend their scoring in the first quarter. Certainly better in the first and second frame.
Absolutely, and for the Windsor Express, the X factors, how do they keep this 4-game winning streak alive and keep it at 5?
Well, we talk a lot about the point guard position with Darren Duncan and Maurice Jones. You've heard me talk about it in detail, but today I want to touch on the 5 spot. Nick Evans and DeAndre Thomas, both of these guys respectively could start on any of these teams. So when you've got a good big like DeAndre to bring off the bench, and then you got Nick Evans riding hot coming in as a starter with both of those guys anchoring the defense, passing out of the post, defending, and being leaders on the floor, this team is in good shape.
Absolutely, and I think the 4 spot may be the difference maker. When you've got guys like Gennard Giroux and Juan Patillo, it only can be good things for the Windsor Express. And we're going to do it for pregame here on Knockstrom.tv. We're going to join you for the call after the national anthem. Stay tuned. Windsor Express and Niagara River Lions is next.
Hello, folks. Welcome up top to the WFCU Center Media Booth. Brett Hedges and Kobe K on the call for you today on Knoxroom.tv. Thanks for tuning in. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful Sunday in Windsor, Ontario. But the basketball action is going to be even hotter than the weather. I'm really excited to see the Niagara River Lions in town for the first time this season. They will start a former face, number 24, Chris Commons. I spoke about him a little bit in pregame. Good to see Chris back, and always a welcome face of the WFCU.
And always a treat to watch him work on the block. Some of the best low post moves I've ever seen on any basketball court. He is sure an exciting player to watch, and he was a great leader here both on and off the court, and I'm sure that Niagara is thrilled to have a player of his caliber.
Absolutely. Noel Moffat and Sammy Zaglinski will participate in the ceremonial tip-off. You'll see a number of players wearing, fans, wearing pink. We're supporting anti-bullying initiatives today by rocking out our pink. And it's always a pleasure seeing our theme nights, and good to see the support, whether it's Shine the Light wearing purple for women's abuse or anti-bullying for these initiatives. Always nice to see NBO Canada and the Windsor Express kicking in.
Yeah, they always do a great job with the community stepping up and addressing key things that we all need to recognize and work on. Some things we celebrate, and the games day operations here at the WFCU Center have done a great job since day one, so we got to give them a shout out.
Absolutely. Starting for the Niagara River Lions in their blue jerseys with white trim, going left to right to start the game will be Sammy Zaglinski, Richard Amarty, and Marcus Lewis. Sammy Muldrow and Chris Commons. For the Windsor Express, it's Darren Duncan, and there's Sammy Muldrow down low working against Nick Evans, number 44. Wally Ellenson, number 31. Patillo, number 1. And Warren Ward, number 10. Amarty in the low block, and he picks up his pivot foot, and that's a traveling violation.
And good defense there by Juan Patillo, who's actually leading this team right now, Brett, in scoring at almost 17 points per game. Then he gets you 6.57 rebounds. Over is almost 2 steals, 1.71, and then almost a block. So a multifaceted threat from anywhere on the court.
Darren Duncan over to Patillo. Wally. Quick over to Warren Ward. He drives in the block, gets it over to Juan at the elbow. Jabs, shoots. Ooh, and it rims out. Sammy Zaglinski with the board. Good to see Sammy healthy. And that ball is knocked away by Darren Duncan. That might be a battle we'll be watching all afternoon. Darren Duncan, number 12 for the Windsor Express, and Sammy Zaglinski, number 3 for Niagara.
Absolutely. Both fantastic on-ball defenders.
Marcus Lewis shovels it over to Zaglinski. Duncan's all over him. Gets a screen from Commons. Commons at the 3-point line. Back over to Sammy Muldrow for 3. That's off the front rim. And the Windsor Express go the other way. Patillo at the 3-point line. Defended by Commons over to Nick Evans on the curl. And shoot. He knocks it down, Nick Evans.
And the more this season goes on, Brett, the more comfortable Nick Evans looks with that jump shot, adding a little bit of range each time he plays. Spectacular stuff.
Was fantastic. He was our player of the game on Friday with 19 points and 9 rebounds. In Windsor's 4th straight win, a 113-92 triumph over Cape Breton. Here's Commons. Down low, count the basket and the foul. CC going to work early. Gets that one to go. And personally delivering us some media packages is Ryan Blevins for the Windsor Express. Thank you so much, Ryan, for your hard work and dedication. Chris Commons at the free throw line for 1.
Commons shooting almost 70% as he makes the second there on the season from the charity stripe, Brett. A veteran guy, game from anywhere on the floor.
Wally Ellenson on the far sideline. And getting tied up, trying to make a cut is Darren Duncan. Committing the foul is Marcus Lewis. First personal, first team foul of the Q. Niagara's up 3-2 after the and 1 play from Chris Commons. No surprise. CC going to work down low. Darren Duncan over to Patillo. Driving. That's off the mark. Chris Commons cleans that one up. Sammy Muldrow, who is a block machine, but picks up his pivot foot and travels.
So a couple early turnovers here for the Niagara River Lions. And that was the story against Cape Breton. Brett, certainly through the first 2 quarters where they turned the ball over quite a bit, and Windsor certainly capitalized on all of those opportunities.
Speaking of blocks, the Windsor Express ranks in the top half in the league in blocks per game, also in free throw percentage and 3-point percentage. 5th and 4th in free throw and 3-point percentage respectively. So those percentages have certainly gone up throughout the season. It's Nick Evans for 2. That's off the heel. Rebounded by Amarty. Quickly up the floor to Zaglinski. Zaglinski for 3. And that's rebounded by Nick Evans. Oh, turns over. Sammy Muldrow cannot knock it down on the run. Windsor escapes unscathed there.
And they did a good job getting back in transition to defend.
Ward for 3. Zaglinski in transition. Over to Amarty. Jab fake around the D, and he scores for 2. Nice drive and finish from Richard Amarty.
Amarty, no stranger to scoring the basketball, scoring almost 11 a game, with 5 rebounds and 1 steal, putting in some good minutes for the River Lions.
Duncan. Shields off Marcus Lewis. Going to the cup at the elbow, spins, gives it to Nick on the baseline. He drives for the reverse, but can't get it to fall. Looking for a call, not going to get it.
And a creative pass there by Darren Duncan under the basket.
Amarty to Muldrow, swings it over to Lewis on the bounce, and he scores for 2. That might be a great matchup off the wing we see this afternoon, Wally Ellenson and Marcus Lewis. This time, Lewis cashes in for 2.
Yeah,
7-2, Niagara leads.
Lewis has been scoring the basketball all season long, almost 17 points per game for the Niagara River Lions.
And a technical foul going to be assessed to Juan Patillo.
You know, it's interesting, Brett, about this River Lions offense scoring a league low 95 points per game, but yet they have 7 players that score in double digits. I think it's a combination of injuries and consistency that they've struggled with, but this is a team that could become ignited at any moment. They are packed with great players. They have a fantastic coach, and this is a solid organization. So they aren't in the best of spots right now, but there's still quite a bit of a season to go here.
Absolutely, and of course, you can look to the Windsor Express as a team who's really turned their fortunes around lately, as Sammy Zaglinski knocks down the technical free throw.
And you got to think, with the departure of Quinnell Brown, although how much he will be missed, the extra minutes and play and usage that Juan Patillo can pick up, I think he's only going to get better as the season goes.
Scoop Jardine enters the contest for Niagara, the recent acquisition in his first contest. Sammy Zaglinski knocks it down for 3, and they're up 11-2 over the Windsor Express early on.
How many times have we seen Sammy Zaglinski drain that shot from the three-point line?
And Nick Evans down low, and he will score. Working against Chris Commons. Nick Evans with all 4 of Windsor's points so far.
And up and over 2 defenders there, Brett. Just supreme confidence at the cup.
Lewis on the baseline. Loses it for a moment. Scoop Jardine for 3. That's off the mark. And we'll go the other way for the Windsor Express.
And you know, once Scoop gets comfortable here, he's going to be doing some amazing things for this team. A very dynamic player, 6'2", 195 pounds. He's a great guard in this league.
Nick Evans down low. He scores, collects himself, and 6 points for Nick Evans now.
Yeah. And we talked about it in the pregame, Brett, getting him going early.
And Maurice Jones has recently checked into the game. Maurice is currently ranked 2nd in 2 NBL Canada categories, 2nd in steals per game and assists per game, as Sammy Zaglinski steps on the sideline there.
And then he gets you 10 points, Brett. He does all kinds of things for this league. And you talked about the assists and the steals. They've been dynamic, but you can't forget about the 3.5 rebounds. He does a little bit of everything at 5'7" from the point guard position.
That's right. Jones working against Scoop. Spins at the elbow. Step back. Gives it over to Nick Evans, who's got 6 early points. And Chris Commons is going to reach in and commit the foul. That'll be the first foul on Chris Commons this afternoon. Beautiful afternoon here in Windsor.
And a good start for the River Lions. 4 of 8 from the field for 50%, so you know they're loving that.
Maurice Jones over to Ward. Defended well by Lewis. He couldn't get off a shot, so he looks inside, kicks it over to Jones instead. Jones steps inside the 3-point line, lets off a jumper, and that's off. Zaglinski cleans that one up. Commons for 3. Nothing going.
That's his spot, though.
It is.
We've seen him do that for many years here in Windsor.
Many, many years. Down low. Nick Evans facing up on Chris Commons once again. And Nick gets it to go. And just like that, the Windsor Express have got themselves back within 3.
Nick Evans seems to be becoming a problem in the painted area for any defender he faces.
Chris Commons at the high post finds a cutting Sammy Zaglinski, but he can't convert from in tight. And Juan Patillo in transition over to a wide open Warren Ward for 3. Kept alive. That one's robbed by Commons. Scoop in the corner for Sammy. Scoop gets the offensive rebound. Kicks it into the corner for Lewis. And he connects for 3.
Nice 3-point shot and 2 beautiful passes, kickouts to the corners on Scoop Jardine off the offensive rebound.
And Ellenson looking to respond. Can't. Chris picks up that one. Jardine leaves it for Ziglinski. Down low to Commons. Shimmy shake, and he gets it to fall.
That's Chris Commons 101 right out of the playbook. Great finish.
Jones. Over to Ellenson. And Sammy Ziglinski is going to be called for reaching in. And we're going to have a quick timeout. Here at the 4:52 mark of the first quarter, the Windsor Express trailed the Niagara River Lions 16-8 here on Knoxroom.tv. We'll be right back. Folks, Windsor Express basketball is brought to you by Mastro Kitchen Studio. Is your kitchen showing its age? Mastro Kitchen Studio can rejuvenate your existing kitchen with a fresh design that will reflect your unique taste and lifestyle. We offer innovative quality cabinetry and a great selection of styles and colors. Our aim is to give our clients expert advice, quality products, and exceptional service. Our designs are developed specifically for you. Our cabinetry custom built for your unique space. Mastro Kitchen Studio, creating designs with you in mind. Thank you to Mastro Kitchen Studio for your partnership with Knoxroom.tv. Coming out of the timeout, the Niagara River Lions doubling up the Windsor Express 16-8. And Jones in the offensive set looking to respond. Jones behind the back, drives, can't get the floater to fall, and Kirk Williams Jr. has the ball knocked out of his hands by Maurice Jones. Windsor comes up empty out of the timeout. And of course, KWJ, one of Alejandro's favorite players, since all the way back in the Oshawa Power days of the early NBL Canada. Played, of course, with the Mississauga Power, with the Windsor Express, now with Niagara. Tyshawn Patterson. Commons finds a lane, and there's his 7th point of the first quarter.
Yeah, beautiful move there by Chris Commons, who finds some space in the paint and just takes it to the rack with a nice finish.
DeAndre working against Chris Commons, and DeAndre goes away from the defense and drives to the basket. He'll draw the foul, and I believe that one's going to go against Chris as well.
DeAndre doing a good job getting himself to the line, but here we see the impact of DeAndre's coming off the bench, Brett. Nick Evans goes 4 of 6 for 8 points, certainly red hot in the first quarter. They give him a little bit of a break. Now they bring in DeAndre Thomas, who can fill that spot, a capable starter in this league, and he's done great things off the pine for Windsor since coming back from injury.
DeAndre Thomas at the free throw line. Sammy Ziglinski was charged with that foul, as number 34, Carl Hall, checks into the game. Rocking number 34. And DeAndre goes 1 for 2. Niagara still doubling up Windsor, this time 18-9. Jardine looking down low. Turns it over, but a foul going to be called, I believe, on DeAndre. Some contact on the wrist there. DeAndre going to get called for his first. Carl Hall was a teammate of NBA players such as Cleanthony Early, Fred Van Fleet, And Ron Baker, while spending 2 seasons at Wichita State, he was also with NBL Canada members such as Nick Wiggins of the Orangeville A's and Chadrick Lefille of the Cape Breton Highlanders. So some Wichita State connections there in the league. Jardine at the cup, loses it. DeAndre Thomas knocks it out of bounds, so it will stay with Niagara. And a timeout's going to be called by Niagara. 3:49 left here in the first quarter. We're going to take a short break. Niagara up 18-9 on Knoxroom.tv. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. We want to remind our viewers that Windsor Express will be holding a youth basketball camp next Saturday before our game against the Niagara River Lions. It's February 25th. It's for ages from 8 to 15. It's for all skill levels, and it costs $50. It's from 9 to 11 next week. So check it out if you're interested. Learn from some of the best basketball minds in the city. And that will be a shot clock violation for the Niagara River Lions, says the official. Roz Licoli and Kirk Williams Jr. having a conversation, but I don't think he's going to change his mind. Juan Patillo will inbound for the Windsor Express, and they'll go the other way, trailing 18-9. A little bit of a slow start for the Windsor Express after riding off some hot first half play as of late.
Yeah, Niagara shooting the basketball great right now, 7 of 15 for 46%.
DeAndre down low working against Carl Hall. He loses it but gets it back, settles himself, and scores off glass for 2.
DeAndre doing a great job using his body to create some space, goes up off the backboard. Easy 2 points.
Scoop Jardine at the elbow. Gets tied up by DeAndre. And it will be a jump ball, and it will go with the Windsor Express. And Scoop Jardine having a conversation with the official. And it will be Express ball on the baseline. The Express crowd getting into it a little bit here.
And I like it by DeAndre Thomas there. That's how to get everybody going, not just the fans, but the players on the court. Suck some of that momentum back.
Warren Ward. Gives it over to Maurice Jones. Steps inside the three-point line. Puts up a jumper. He goes short, trying to get some contact there, and Maurice Jones comes up empty. 3 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Niagara up 18-11. Here comes Kirk Williams Jr. And we talk about it all the time, how good he was in those NBL Canada Finals during Windsor's second championship run. But there's a turnover. Juan Patillo on the run at the cup. And they can't get it to fall, and knocking his own player out of bounds, unfortunately, is Kirk Williams Jr. Carl Hall lands right into my good buddy Kevin Gerald sitting courtside, one of the Windsor Express photographers. How about that one, Kev? Getting up close and personal.
It's 6 turnovers now for the River Lions, who were protecting the ball pretty good early, but this is a way that Windsor can really get back into this thing definitively, down by 7.
The hesitation there leads to a miss from Clinton Springer, but Warren Ward gets the offensive rebound. Juan Patillo down low. Springer gets loose in the corner again. He launches. That one's off, but DeAndre Thomas gets that offensive rebound. Driving baseline, trying to find a teammate. He goes up with a short angle, comes up empty. Kirk Williams Jr. on the run in transition for 2. Slamming it home.
DeAndre looking for the foul, but the outlet pass causes the Express defenders to be out of position. Niagara finishing easy at the rim.
Warren Ward at the free throw line launches it. Off glass and good. It's Sunday afternoon, but the bank is good.
And Warren Ward is still good, averaging almost 17 a game, playing some really good basketball for the Express.
And Gernard Giroux going to check into the contest after the miss. Juan Patillo, quick pass up the floor. That's picked off by Kirk Williams Jr. Great anticipation there. Quick pass up the floor to Jardine, and he scores for 2. Wow. The Niagara River Lions turn it over. Juan Patillo on the inbound. And Maurice Jones has to commit the foul. Some sloppy play there by the Windsor Express.
And Scoop Jardine scored his first basket ever as a Niagara River Lion, and I expect to see many more to follow.
And we're going to have some substitutions in. DeAndre is going to come out. Juan Patillo's coming out. Giroux and Nick Evans check in.
Yeah.
Down 22-13, 1:26 to go.
Like you'd said, Brett, a slow start for the Express. 6 of 21 from the field and 0 of 5 from downtown.
Jardine at the point guard spot. Gets a high screen. No. Kirk slips the high screen, launches for 3. That's off the heel. Nick Evans cleans that board. Jones up the floor. Kicks it over to Warren Ward, one of the 4 Canadians on Windsor's roster, the reigning Canadian of the year. And he cannot convert, but putting it back up is Giroux, and he can't score. 1 minute to play here in the first quarter. Marcus Lewis over to Jardine. Down low to Carl Hall. He can't collect it, but he gets it over to Scoop Jardine. 7 to shoot. Scoop finds Hall on the roll. He kicks it out to Patterson for 3. And Giroux with the rebound. Opportunity for Windsor here. Giroux steps inside, drives, and loses it, and it will be Niagara ball. Giroux just mishandles it, and it ends up going the other way on the turnover.
Yeah, Niagara doing a great job, Brett, rotating the basketball. 9 assists already to Windsor's 4. And coming into this game, they were just a shade over 20 as a team, which was good for 10th in the NBL.
Patterson. And the high screen from Hall. Patterson over to Williams. Down low to Hall, working against Nick. Turn around, can't get it to fall. With 12 seconds to go, Warren Ward has the ball. Ward. Driving. Behind the back, but loses it. Over to Jones at the buzzer. No. Jones may have had another half second before launching that one, but that's how the first quarter ends. Niagara up 22-13. We'll take a short break on Knoxroom.tv, and we'll return for the second here. We'll be right back. All right, coming back into the second quarter, the Niagara River Lions taking on the Windsor Express and leading 22-13 after the first quarter. Kobe K, what did the stats say to you?
Well, the Niagara River Lions did have 7 turnovers, but Windsor only scored 2 points off those turnovers, so I think that's a significant number as well. Windsor shooting 26% from the field, 0 of 6 from downtown, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, so efficiency definitely an issue through the first quarter.
And an illegal screen going to be set by Kirk Williams Jr. That will negate the Sammy Zaglinski basket and will put the ball the other way on the opening possession of the second quarter. Maurice Jones getting pushed off the three-point line by Kirk Williams Jr. Springer at the elbow driving, puts it off his foot. It's going the other way. Tyshawn Patterson to the cup. Patterson will draw the foul hard to the cup, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Strong take by Patterson, who gets himself to the free throw line, like you said, Brett. 12 points per game, 46% for the field, almost 4 boards, 2.5 assists, so putting in some great minutes for the River Lions.
The second quarter of Windsor Express basketball on Knockstrom.tv is brought to you by DC Basement Waterproofing and Concrete Raising. Patterson misses the first free throw. And we'll line up the second. Patterson, former Newcomer of the Year award winner. He was fantastic for the London Lightning last season.
And a crafty defender. Puts a lot of pressure on opponents on offense. Really lock it down on the defensive end.
Darren Duncan checks into the contest after Maurice Jones on the first possession. Springer at the elbow. Can't knock it down. Springer, a former Niagara River Lion. One game last year, knocked down 10 three-pointers on his way to 38 points. Sammy Muldrow for 3. That one's off the front rim, and Nick Evans with the rebound there. Maurice Jones going to check back in shortly. Duncan splits the defenders. Puts it to a space, and Wally Ellenson chases it down, steps into a 3-ball, and Muldrow rebounds that one.
Credit Wally Ellenson for keeping hope alive. They're hustling to get that ball.
Zaglinski for 3, cans it. Springer ran in late to try and disrupt the shot, but it's all good for Sammy Zaglinski for 3, and they've doubled up the Windsor Express. It's 26-13.
That's Zaglinski's second triple to go along with 4 boards and 2 assists, so a great start for the point guard.
And Darren Duncan loses it on the drive, but a foul is going to be called. That one's going to go against number 15, Muldrow. Will be his first, pardon me. Springer going to check out of the contest for Maurice Jones. First time to my knowledge that Duncan and Jones will be on the floor at the same time for an extended period of time anyway. Duncan gives it to Nick Evans. He knocks down the elbow jumper.
Interesting, he had Gennard Giroux open on the lower block, but obviously a shot that Nick Evans is going to hit.
8 points for Nick Evans early on.
He's been the best player on the floor today for the Windsor Express, that's for sure.
Kirk Williams Jr. kicks it out. Murray, touch pass to Patterson. He puts a shot up on the run. Giroux cleans that one. Duncan driving baseline in the corner. Jones for 3. Cans it. And Maurice Jones puts the Windsor Express within 8.
And gets going. He was 0 of 4 before that corner 3. So a good time for Maurice Jones to get on the board.
Zaglinski steps inside the 3-point line, kicks it out to Patterson. In the corner, it's Sammy. Directing traffic, bringing Kirk over for a high screen. Crosses over, puts up a runner. Doesn't get it to fall, but Muldrow is blocked by Giroux. Duncan, cross-court pass to Ellenson. He settles for 3. Knocked out of bounds by Nick Evans, and it will go Niagara. And Richard Amarty will check into the contest for Patterson.
Nick Evans, currently Windsor's leading scorer with 10 points to go along with 4 boards. Chris Commons for the River Lions with 7, as does Sammy Zaglinski.
Commons on the bench waiting for his time to come back in. after starting this contest hot, and Giroux steps into that one but can't collect it. Murray kicks. That one's going to go off of Kirk Williams Jr., says the official, and will go the other way. Gennard Giroux will inbound.
And I think Gennard Giroux had a hand in that play.
And a Niagara timeout will come up with 8:55 to go here in the second quarter. The Windsor Express trailing Niagara 26-18 on Knockstrom.tv. We'll be right back after this timeout break. Having an afternoon at the WFCU Center.
And just became the River Lions' leading scorer, hitting his third triple on the afternoon.
Wally Ellenson. Duncan gets a high screen from Nick. In the corner for Giroux, that's knocked away by Tyler Murray. And it will be Windsor ball with 7 to shoot on the shot clock. Wally Ellenson checks out. Warren Ward checks in. Ward on the catch and shoot, no good, but that's kept alive by Giroux. Chris Commons tapped that out to Tyler Murray, and Niagara will have possession. Amarty, pump fake, crosses over in the middle of the key, loses it, but settles and gets it up to Sammy Muldrow. And a 3-second violation going to be called against Chris Commons. Windsor will have possession once again. That's 10th Niagara turnover of the first half. And 7:33 to go in the second quarter.
Windsor with only 2 points off those turnovers, so this is an area where they're going to look to capitalize going forward. And this is when we see this team at its best, when they're turning defense into good offense.
That's Nick Evans down low. Gets around the defender, and he'll draw the foul. Nick Evans going to get to the free throw line the hard way. And he'll go to the free throw line for 2. Trying to extend the lead, or trying to extend his points and get Windsor within single digits here. They're down by 11, 29-18.
He's been great from the charity stripe all season long. 74% from the free throw line.
Nick misses the first. Croslew-Coley energizing his club from the sideline. Converts, Nick does on the second free throw, splits the pair, and Windsor's down by 10, 29-19. Amarty faces up on Patillo. And driving to the baseline and drawing the foul is Chris Commons. Juan Patillo. No, that one's going to go against Maurice Jones. And Commons will go to the free throw line for 2. Third personal foul for Maurice Jones, team second of the quarter. So Noel Moffett will come off the Windsor Express bench.
And he looked great in limited minutes against the Cape Breton Highlanders. A couple triples, a steal.
That's right. 5 points. He had caught an elbow jumper.
Didn't have 2 triples.
Had 1 elbow jumper and then a triple after the steal.
But raised the roof nevertheless. Fans were really getting behind Noel Moffett.
He was termed Mr. Efficient by the Express media.
Fantastic limited minutes.
Good to see the Memorial University product coming into shape. And that one's going to be knocked away by Sammy Muldrow and will be Windsor possession. You never know how rookies are going to pan out in the NBL Canada. Good to see Noel Moffett acclimating himself quite nicely. And Amarty trying to disrupt the inbound there on Warren Ward. He inbounds it to Nick Evans. He's going to go to work against Sammy Muldrow in the middle of the key, finds a cutting Juan Patillo, and he scores on the reverse layup.
And that's the beauty of Nick Evans' game. You got to watch him in the painted area, and that allows other offensive players to be opened up, and he can make that pass, and some easy money for the Windsor Express.
Commons down low, working against Patillo. Spinning, shooting, scoring. Like butter, baby.
In classic Chris Commons fashion.
Chris Commons pacing the Niagara offense with 10 early points. He had 7 in the first quarter.
And he's got 3 boards as well. Really doing a fantastic job.
Chalk up a steal on that one too, knocking that ball loose. Marcus Lewis over to Amarty for 2 in transition. Man, this team gets up the floor fast.
They do, and they look like they're playing much better basketball tonight. We talked about the rest. Would it help? Would it hurt? I think they've answered that early.
Absolutely. Darren Duncan inside the three-point line at the elbow jumper. Does not get it to fall. 34-21 midway through the second quarter. Sammy Zaglinski. Lewis, defended by Moffitt. Lewis has a step and he crams it for 2. Marcus Lewis.
A dynamic scorer, to say the least. Finishing, Brett, 54% of his field goal attempts. I mean, that is a fantastic number, and he is one of the better scorers in this league.
And that will prompt a timeout call by head coach Bill Jones. His team down by 15 midway through the second. When we return, more Windsor Express basketball on Knoxstrom.tv. Welcome back, folks, out of the timeout. The Windsor Express trailing 36-21, and Kobe, without Nick Evans, 10 points, it might be a lot worse.
Absolutely. They're shooting just under 28% from the field, and Nick Evans is 5 of 7, so that kind of gives you an indication of how badly the rest of the team's struggling on the offensive end. The good news is they'll have 2 quarters to figure it out after we get through this 5 minutes and change.
37-21 after the Marcus Lewis and 1 is completed at the free throw line. Patillo at the elbow, can't get it to go. And Evans tried to tip it out, but Amarty goes the other way with it. Sammy directing traffic. Sets up Lewis on the far wing. One-on-one with Moffitt. Just beat him on the previous possession, and he goes baseline once again and scores.
Marcus Lewis, some serious work down low, creating space. Noel Moffitt finishing at the rim. That was some nice looking stuff.
Absolutely. Marcus Lewis, 5 quick points there, as Ellenson and DeAndre Thomas will check in for Moffitt and Evans.
And we talked about the points, Brett, but you can't forget about the assists. He's got 4 dimes to go along with double-digit points.
Duncan getting pushed off the three-point line by Commons. That one's stolen by Chris. Got his hand in the lane, and Muldrow crams it in transition.
And that all started with great defense by the Niagara River Lions. Fired up.
Duncan looking to respond for Windsor. 20-point deficit. Ward for 3. Off the heel, and that one will go out of bounds. And it will be Niagara possession. Gernard Giroux going to check in shortly. And Juan Patillo will take a break. 4:28 left in the second quarter. Kobe will be joining Justin Prince at halftime to talk some stats and facts. Chris Commons down low once again, and one. When he's hungry, he's going to eat.
Yep.
And if you feed him, he's going to produce. Chris Commons at the free throw line looking for his second three-point play of the afternoon.
5 of 6 from the field, 12 points. Could be 13 after this free throw. But he knows these rims, he knows this court, he knows this team. And he isn't backing down today. Number 24, Chris Commons, getting it done for the River Lions.
Giroux inbounding after Chris Commons completes the three-point play. And Duncan knocks down the 3 to answer for the Windsor Express. Wow, they needed that one.
They did. And a big triple will always help a team get back into a game.
Chris Commons with 13 points to go along with Marcus Lewis's 10 and Sammy Zaglinski's 10. So, well spaced out offense for Niagara.
Zaglinski, 6 boards and 4 assists.
Blocked by Giroux, swooping in. That one will be Windsor basketball.
Zaglinski close to being on triple-double alert here, Brett. Some fantastic numbers through 3 categories.
3:40 to go in the second. 20-point game. Giroux at the three-point line kicks it over to Ward. And that's good.
The extra pass finds Warren Ward open in the corner. And that's a spot that he loves to shoot the basketball. 2 big triples now from the Windsor Express.
5 points for Warren Ward as Commons cuts to the basket and he finishes from the left-hand side with the right hand. 15 points for Chris Commons in the first half. 3:03 to go. Duncan one-on-one with Muldrow, and he'll draw the foul after creating contact, and he'll go to the free throw line for a pair.
Duncan and DeAndre talking it out. And you gotta love the vocal abilities of both those players on the floor. Great generals, great veterans, and fantastic leaders.
And they know how important this 4-game win streak has been to the club.
Niagara shooting a blistering 18 to 35 from the field, almost 52%. I mean, these are great numbers for the road.
Duncan for the second. Leaves it short. Ellenson makes a play on the rebound and commits the foul. Kirk Williams Jr. And Scoop Jardine will check into the game. Scoop with some early numbers, moving the ball around for the Niagara River Lions. Really helping this squad in his first game.
Yeah, he definitely helps them in transition and in the half court as well. I mean, he can do it all, and once he gets comfortable, look out.
Lewis crosses over to his right. Tried to find Kirk, but it scoots over to Amarty. Scoop for 3. Scoop with the rebound off the glass and good.
That was all athleticism and basketball instincts right there. Scoop Jardine.
And there's a turnover. Amarty the other way for Niagara. Scoop at the elbow. Finds Commons, and he scores for 2. Chalk up 2 more for Chris Commons.
And a beautiful pass into the interior by Scoop Jardine. Wouldn't be able to tell this is his first game in a River Lions uniform. That's that kind of communication on the floor.
DeAndre finds Giroux in the middle post, and he will draw the foul on Scoop Jardine, I believe. And a substitution going to come in for Wally Ellenson. Clinton Springer will replace as Kobe heads down to chat with Justin Prince at halftime. Here we've got 1:54 left here in the first half. Duncan Finds Giroux on the inbound. DeAndre in the middle of the key. Puts up a floater, and it's good. 20-30 now. 1:45 to go in the first half. Jardine to his right. Finds Commons. He kicks it out to Kirk. Steps inside the three-point line. Jardine finds a gap. Left-hand finish. It's good. Scoop Jardine for 2. Duncan with the handle for Express. Ward in the corner. Duncan to his right. Finds a cutting Gennard Giroux for 2 on the low block. 1:08 to go. Jardine. Jardine. Finding Kirk Williams Jr. on the baseline. He collects himself, but he travels. I think he didn't realize how much space he had. Giroux had to give him a little bit of room with 51.4 to go. And that one is turned over. Marcus Lewis making a play on that ball. The other way, Jardine finishing for Chris Commons. And Chris Commons is having a phenomenal first half. Now at 17 points. No, 19 points. DeAndre Thomas down low, scores for 2 on the low block. With 54-34. Jardine at the elbow, rising up, short, and that's how the first half will end. A poor shooting performance from the Windsor Express and a very hot start by the Niagara River Lions, led by 19 points by Chris Commons, gives them a 20-point lead at halftime, 54-34. We're going to send you downstairs to Justin Prince and Mitch Kobe K. Windsor Express basketball is brought to you by Mastro Kitchen Studio and DC Basement Waterproofing and Concrete Raising. Whether you're looking for some kitchen work or some basement waterproofing or concrete raising, make sure you give those to a call. Very valuable sponsors for the Windsor Express and Knoxroom.tv. We're sending it downstairs to Mitch Kobe K and Justin Prince, sideline on the court. In just a moment, we'll take a break here on Knoxroom.tv for the halftime show.
Welcome everyone to the Knoxroom halftime. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside me today is Mitch Kobe K here. And welcome everyone to what has been basically an onslaught so far from Niagara as they lead 54-34 here at halftime. So right now, Mitch, what are your thoughts right now on this game so far, as right now it seems Niagara has just about all the momentum so far in this first half?
Well, they were off for 10 days, and anytime that happens, it's either going to help you or it's going to hurt you. And usually we find out in the first 2 minutes, and Niagara has done good with this break. They're well rested. They're in sync. Large in part due to Chris Commons. 8 of 9 from the field. 19 points. Super efficient. Great on both ends. Really hurting this Windsor Express team.
Yes, I have to agree with you on that, that's for sure. As Niagara is coming off, of course, a victory against Cape Breton on Friday and a 4-game winning streak. But right now, their offense seems to have taken a ghost act as all but 2 players have not made more than 1 shot. Nick Evans, 11 points, 5 of 7 shooting with 4 rebounds, and then you have Warren Ward, who has made 2 shots from the field. So right now, offense is just not coming easily for Windsor.
No, the percentages aren't there. Windsor 34% from the field, 20% from downtown, and they're only 3 of 6 from the free throw line. Everybody's struggling in terms of efficiency except Nick Evans. The good news is they have 2 quarters to figure it out. Niagara turned the ball over 10 times. Windsor only scoring 2 points off those turnovers. So I expect Coach Bill Jones to be addressing all of this at halftime.
And now, as we continue on, let's take a step away from this game right now and look at some of the scores from around the league going on. Currently, Moncton and St. John are towards the end of their game. Right now, St. John up 83-66 in that one. And the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans are taking on Cape Breton. Meanwhile, down the road at the Odd, as right now that game is currently approaching the end of the first half, 39-36. And then Orangeville and Halifax are set to tip off in a few minutes, as they are all set to go down there at the Athlete Institute. So right now, as this is going across the league, right now, what are your thoughts on some of these games going on as they continue to go on, especially with this game with St. John just finishing up along with Moncton? With both those teams.
I think they're all fantastic, and this league just continues to get better and grow. The 6th season, the pursuit. We have 10 teams now. 2 will not make the playoffs, which helps the competitive piece with all the wrestling, shuffling that happens, and then, of course, the players that are kept. It just leads to so much excitement throughout this league. Another banner year for the NBLC.
I have to agree with you on that, as there's a lot of action going on across the league as we approach Family Day weekend, with Family Day tomorrow here in Ontario at least. So it is a lot of fans here packed into the WFCU Center for this one right now. But as we bring it back here to Windsor here, let's take a look at what we have to expect from these teams here as we approach the second half right now. With Niagara right now up big, what adjustments do you make to try and keep this lead to prevent Windsor from having a momentum swing to come back into this one if you are Coach Grace Lilke right there for Niagara?
Well, I see the updated number on the turnovers is 11. So I think if Niagara can protect the basketball in the second half, they won't give away any easy points. They've stayed efficient, and I think they need to continue to go with what's worked so far, and that's high percentage shot. They've gotten out and ran in transition, and they've made the most of opportunities in terms of the second chance points. So I want to see more of the same from the Niagara River Lions, who need to keep their foot on the gas and the tempo up here at the WFCU Center.
I have to agree with you on that, because at times it felt like Niagara gave away possessions in that first half. And whether it was travels or throwing the balls into the first row, they kept on giving that ball away. If they can lock down those turnover issues and ball handling issues, as well as try and keep Windsor off the offensive glass, because right now Windsor has been getting multiple tap-outs, it seems, on possessions. Sometimes it's many for them, getting 4 chances in 1 possession. I think if Niagara wants to keep this lead, they have to try and lock down that as well. And like you said, keep the foot on the pedal and get Windsor tired out, as this right now, this retooled Niagara squad coming off 10 days rest is looking real good here. What do you do if you're Bill Jones, though?
Well, I think you need to address some of the scorers, and that includes Chris Commons, and doing a better job defending him in the paint. And if that needs to be a matchup change, then so be it. But Antonio Scoop Jardine has been really good in his first game with the Niagara River Lions. Certainly the passing was exceptional. He had 6 points, but I think the individual defense needs to be better for Windsor for sure.
I agree with on that. On top of that, I feel like the offense has to start getting better, because you have to start making your shots right now. It feels less of a situation of getting those shots. It's a matter of making them. They're getting the open opportunities, Windsor, but they are just not making those shots, it seems.
Yeah, I think when with Windsor, defense turns into offense, and when they're struggling on the offensive end to create some turnovers, to take some momentum back, get a big bucket that way, and everything else seems to fall into place. They also, like you said, Justin, had 5 offensive rebounds but had no second chance points. So I think capitalizing on any Niagara River Lions error they can is their best route to getting back into this game and maybe getting out of here with a win.
We'll have to see how things turn out here in this second half here at the WFCU Center as the Windsor Express trail the Niagara River Lions 54-34 here as we approach the start of the second half. We'll be right back here in just a few moments here on Knoxstrom Digital Media as we'll be all set here. Justin Prince along with Mitch Kobe K. We'll be back in just a few moments. Thank you.
right, folks, welcome back up top to the WFCU Center media booth here at halftime between the Windsor Express and the Niagara River Lions. The Niagara River Lions, what a first half, Kobe. My goodness, 54 points, led by 19 from former Windsor Express forward Chris Commons. He was on fire in the first half.
Yeah, he was playing the supreme confidence.
Welcome back to everyone. Sorry, Windsor Express basketball. Moments away from the second half action. Niagara up 54-34, led by Chris Commons, 19 points. He was on fire in the first half, and everything that the Niagara River Lions were putting up, they were finishing one way or another.
Yeah, 22 of 41 from the field, Brett, for almost 54%. And then you gotta love the 19 team assists. That's a fantastic number considering they came into this one averaging 20 assists through 4 quarters. So that certainly helped their cause. And as well, the Windsor Express not scoring a ton of points off turnovers, 0 second chance points. And then, of course, Niagara almost doubling them up in terms of points in the paint, 36-18. So definitely the start that this River Lions team was looking for after a 10-day layoff. Really in sync right now.
Absolutely, and the Windsor Express were led by 11 first half points from Nick Evans, 7 points from DeAndre Thomas, and Juan Patillo at the top of the key now to start the second half. At the elbow, Patillo, and he drains it.
Juan Patillo nails the elbow jumper, and a great start to the third quarter for Windsor.
Zaglinski pacing the offense, gives it over to Commons, 19 first half points. In the lane, and he will travel. Juan Patillo there with some stellar defense, causes the turnover.
Great individual defense by Juan Patillo there. And that's something that needed to be addressed at halftime, shutting Chris Commons down. Interesting, because Grozlakoli went right back to him to start the third quarter here.
Patillo, all legal screen. Did not have his feet set before bumping Marcus Lewis. Those are just some timing things.
And speaking of speaking of Marcus Lewis, Brett, 4 of 4 through the first half for 10 points. Really efficient start.
And of course, that highlight reel dunk and finish brought me off my chairs. There's Richard Amarty driving baseline. Defended by Allenson, gets the offensive rebound and can't get it to go. The second and third opportunity goes. Amarty cleaning up the boards there.
Good effort by the River Lions.
Duncan gets a high screen from Patillo to Nick Evans. Baby hook is good for 2.
Great combination there from the point guard to the center. Duncan to Evans, finishing into the paint.
Zaglinski over to Amarty. Off the side rim and collected by Juan Patillo. Amarty goes down, but Patillo goes coast to coast and will draw the foul. This one on Sammy Muldrow. And 2 free throws are going to come up for Juan Patillo. And number 1 has been a big help for the Windsor Express since coming over. Averaging close to a double-double a game. And really been consistent from the mid-range spot.
Absolutely. Almost 17 points per game. Brett actually leads the team in scoring, and I believe he's better than 50% from the field. With the amount of contested twos he takes, certainly speaks to the level he's playing at and the high percentage he's shooting at as he drains the free throw. But this is a guy that is playing at a really, really high level right now. He's doing a fantastic job.
Only 2 points in the first half. He's got 4 already in the third quarter.
And he's a really good player on the glass. He had 3 first half rebounds.
Zaglinski directing traffic with Carl Hall. Zaglinski steps inside at the free throw line, kicks it out to Amarty. Back to Zaglinski in the corner, finds Commons at the elbow, launches off the front rim. Ward coming the other way for Windsor. Down low for Nick Evans. Drives baseline, turnaround, gets it to fall. The baseline hook shot is good for Nick Evans. 15 points for him.
7-9 for the field, staying ultra efficient for the Express.
Commons thought about looking at the 3 ball, gives it over to Zaglinski, he steps inside the key, and Duncan steps in front of that pass. Shields off the defender, goes the other way, and does not connect with Juan Patillo in transition. Windsor trying to gain some steam.
Yeah, unfortunate turn of events there as Duncan made a considerable effort to get that basketball and take it down the court in transition.
Amarty looking down low for Commons. Commons waits to set a screen. Got kind of left in limbo there, so they have to go across court to Lewis. Lewis inside the 3-point line over to Carl Hall. Shoulders off Nick Evans and scores inside for 2. Carl Hall.
And count him, 5 assists now for Marcus Lewis.
Duncan bringing back Nick Evans. Baseline drive for Patillo, and he is going to draw the foul. Thought he was going to cram that one down. Would have got the Windsor Express fans up into it, but he's got a chance at 2.
And you got to love the feed there by Darren Duncan into the interior to Juan Patillo, really making that play possible. Excellent passing by Darren Duncan.
Patillo knocks down the first free throw. Former Oklahoma Sooner and Western Kentucky player. Played at Oklahoma alongside Blake Griffin.
6'6", 225, almost 10 rebounds like you said earlier, Brett. Almost a walking double-double.
And his free throws trims the deficit to 14. Chris Commons spinning, shooting, has that one knocked off away by Patillo, gets it back, turning once again, has it stolen. And Commons is the last to touch the ball, and it will be a turnover.
So much improved defense on number 24, Chris Commons, by the Windsor Express. He's certainly not having the same opportunities he did in the first half, or the same opportunities, just much better defense.
Absolutely. The Windsor Express trailing Niagara by 14, 58-44 with 8:38 left in the third. When we return, more Windsor Express basketball on Knoxstrom.tv. All right, coming back out of the timeout, the Windsor Express on a 10-4 run to start the third quarter, down 58-44 after down 20 at half.
Yep, much better scoring in the third frame, and we talked about earlier this season being outscored in the first and second quarter, and then them having a struggle coming from behind. And -9 in the first, -11 in the second. So much better start for this third quarter.
Nick Evans down low working against Carl Hall, going to work with the left hand. He doesn't get it to fall, but chasing that one down for the offensive rebound is Henry Ellenson. Henry struggled shooting the ball, but he gets the offensive rebound there. He was 0 for 6 in the first half. Did I say Henry? I meant Wally Ellenson.
Regardless, your point is correct. He did struggle from the field, but he looks really ready in this third quarter to get it going.
Ward at the elbow, launches and converts for 2.
The Windsor Express's second leading scorer, Warren Ward.
Reigning Canadian Player of the Year, Warren Ward, former Ottawa Gigi. The Gigi's just fell last night to the Ryerson Rams, actually. That was a fantastic game. Watch that on OUA.tv. And there's Marty at the three-point line. And that's going to be a shot clock violation. No one on the bench counting down for Niagara. I'm sure Chris Commons had a word for his teammates there. I'm not sure what quite happened on that play.
Yeah, and they've taken Commons out of the equation here in the third quarter, and look at the difference in the scoring. There's much better defense by the Windsor Express.
Looking to see when the bench is going to get moving for Niagara. See when maybe Scoop Jardine comes back in. You know, he's a bolt of lightning off the bench.
He's a lot of fun to watch.
Duncan leaves it for Nick Evans, but he can't handle it. It's going the other way. Alley-oop! Oh, Lordy! Amarty to Marcus Lewis for the slam.
Tic-tac-toe for the Niagara River Lions players off their bench. Exciting stuff right there.
And another turnover. That one's between Warren Ward and Nick Evans. Alley-oop. No, that one's saved by Darren Duncan, but Zaglinski handles it. Amarty for three. Ooh, just like that. The River Lions.
And that is not what the Windsor Express wanted, is they started to take the momentum away and control the game. But here comes the Niagara River Lions with great defense, turning it into offense, getting out in transition, playing up tempo, and taking it to the Express.
5 straight points from Niagara will prompt a Windsor timeout here. 63-46 on Knockstrom.tv. We'll be right back with more of the third quarter. The players are returning to the floor coming out of the timeout. 5 quick points from Niagara prompted that timeout after what was a pretty good start for the Windsor Express. Unfortunately, a pair of turnovers went the other way, and Niagara was able to capitalize.
And Niagara making the most of those turnovers. They've actually got 18 points off turnovers to Windsor's 5, so that's a considerable factor when examining the analysis of this game.
And Darren Duncan at the helm for the Windsor Express, I'm sure having a colorful conversation with Bill Jones.
And as well, Brett, Niagara is still 52% from the field, so they're shooting great ball.
And shooting the ball great is Juan Patillo. He converts for 2 out of the timeout.
That's 10 points now for Patillo, who's having a great third quarter.
Zaglinski over to Chris Commons. Down low to Carl Hall, working against Nick Evans. And he gets it to fall on the mini hook. 65-48. Duncan to his right. Duncan slashes in the corners. Ward for 3. Needed that one. The Windsor Express get 3 ball from Warren Ward in the corner.
And Darren Duncan with the hockey assist, commanding things from the point guard position, and that's a spot Warren Ward loves to shoot the basketball.
Zaglinski. Commons for 3. That's off the heel, but rebounded by Carl Hall. Reset the shot clock for Sammy. Finds Carl Hall on the roll, and he scores on the baseline for 2.
And second chance points for the Niagara River Lions off the offensive board, and Windsor's going to have to lock it down on the glass if they want to win this game.
3 subs set to come in for Niagara. Kirk Williams Jr., Scoop Jardine, and Tyshawn Patterson.
What a group to bring off the bench. Good Lord.
And Darren Duncan will draw a foul on Sammy Zaglinski after pulling up for the elbow jumper. And Duncan will go to the free throw line. DeAndre Thomas going to go check in for Nick.
And DeAndre's done a good job for the Windsor Express, bringing some energy when need be. So this is probably the right time for him to be inserted into the game to try to get things going.
Duncan knocks down the first free throw. Duncan for 2. Gets it to Crawl over the rim, and Jones will check in for Darren Duncan. And Jones going to defend Tyshawn Patterson, it seems. That's a tough matchup. Jardine gets a high screen from Carl Hall, gets inside the lane and scoops and scores for 2.
Great finish there from Scoop. 8 points now, 3 assists, 2 boards. Some fantastic minutes for the River Lions.
DeAndre in the low post working against Carl Hall. Turnaround jumper, does not get it to fall. KWJ with the rebound. And Kirk Williams Jr. will be called for the offensive foul.
Wally Ellenson hits the deck. His timing's a little bit off today, Brett, in terms of coming in through the back door. We often see him elevate behind the play and then steal an offensive rebound or a defensive rebound or get that putback. Not quite there today, but he does earn a foul there for the Niagara River Lions, and Windsor will keep possession.
From the far sideline, Ellenson will inbound. Gets it to Jones. Express down by 16. Ward for 3. Off the rim, and Patillo with the offensive rebound. Put back, it's good for 2.
That was all heart and all hustle for number 1, Juan Patillo.
A lot of battles going on down low. As Amarty in the lane. Carl Hall picks up the garbage, but he can't convert down low. Amarty looking for a foul, not going to get it.
Patillo in motion.
Ward to Patillo for baseline jumper. That's off. Jardine slowly up the floor for Niagara. Jardine to his left. Pulls it back out, draws the double team. Extra pass to KWJ. He converts for 3.
Great ball rotation by the Niagara River Lions. 25 team assists, Brett.
Jones in the front court for Windsor. To Patillo, looking down low to DeAndre, back to Ellenson. And he does not get it to fall. Wally snake bitten a little bit today by the 3 ball. Patterson. Williams Jr. loses it on the dribble, and it will go the other way. Windsor down 72-55. 3:12 left in the third quarter, looking for a spark. Looking to maybe get it within single digits before the end of the third quarter.
Well, I think that would be ideal for sure. They need to find some high percentage shots to shoot 40% from the field to Niagara's 53.5.
Jones looking down low to DeAndre. Working against Carl Hall. There's 2 bigs battling down low, spinning down low. DeAndre, and he's blocked by Hall, but a foul is called.
Good defense there by Carl Hall, and Brett, he's put in some solid minutes for the Niagara River Lions. 6 points, 2 boards, and as we see there, some great individual defense in the paint.
Absolutely. He's called for the foul, but he heads to the bench. Gets some love and affection from his coach and teammates. And I look at those 2 guys, DeAndre and Carl Hall. That would be a lot of fun to watch in the playoff matchups. I mean, in a few months we'll be talking about that.
Absolutely, and that speaks again to the versatility at the 5 spot for the Windsor Express with Nick Evans and DeAndre Thomas, 2 big bruisers with lots and lots of skill, and they got there's some finesse to both of their games as well as all that size and strength. So I think that's what makes them so interesting and fun to watch.
Windsor's 0 for 2 against Niagara this year. 94-86 loss on January 2nd, and then a 117-99 loss on January 16th. So Windsor looking to get in the win category here today. They're down by 15 after DeAndre Thomas converts 2 free throws. Amarty for 3. That's off, and Warren Ward cleans that board. Jones directing traffic over to Ellenson. Ellenson looking down low to DeAndre, working against KWJ. DeAndre spinning, At the cup for two, DeAndre Thomas in double digits now.
And great awareness by the big man, DeAndre Thomas, knowing there was nobody behind him, able to make a simple pivot, turn around, and pop it off the backboard. 2 points for the Express.
And a 13-point deficit. 2 minutes ago in the first half. Scoop on the drive. Doesn't get it to fall. DeAndre cleans that board, but Scoop pokes it loose and will be called for the reach-in. Scoop Jardine picking up the foul.
That will be his second. But you got to love the intensity there. I mean, he had the opportunity and the option there to pick DeAndre's pocket. Ends up creating the foul, but he is a hawk on the basketball, that's for sure.
A great pickup by Niagara, and Lewis knocks it out of bounds. And Sammy will check into the game for Niagara.
And he's quietly being fantastic for the River Lions. Brett, 10 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, and 3 big triples.
We spoke about him in the pregame, how he's a triple-double threat every time he's on the floor. And a healthy Sammy Zaglinski is a very dangerous Sammy Zaglinski. DeAndre down low once again. In the middle of the key, can't get it to fall. Sammy soars in and grabs that rebound. Scoop Jardine defended by Warren Ward up the floor. 1:30 to go. Kirk Williams Jr. drives baseline, gets some separation on Juan Patillo and scores.
And a beautiful laser beam pass by Scoop Jardine into the interior. And like you said, Kirk Williams Jr. using his body to create some space.
Lead is back to 15 for Niagara. Jones airmails it to Ward on the far wing. And with 1:07 left, it will be Niagara ball and a 15-point lead.
Pass a little too high. Maurice Jones throws it away. Having a bit of a tough game here. 1 of 5 from the field. He's got 3 fouls. But we know with him, he can get it going at any moment.
And Coach Bill Jones having a quick conversation with Kirk Williams Jr. as he was inbounding, and a double tech is going to be assessed, I believe, to Williams Jr. and Warren Ward. So it will be Niagara possession with 1:03 left in the first half. Jardine on the far sideline, turns it over. Juan Patillo, no, Jardine gets it back, gives it to Kirk Williams Jr., and he can't convert. Allenson and Patillo get caught up on the rebound, and it will be Niagara ball.
Nice no-look pass by Scoop Jardine into the interior. Unfortunately, Windsor can't come up with it, and the River Lions will maintain possession.
Zaglinski inbounds it to Kirk Williams Jr. Finds a cutting Scoop Jardine, and he scores. Welcome back, folks, to Knoxroom.tv. It's the fourth quarter, and Niagara is enjoying a 20-point lead. Kobe K, what do the stats say to you?
Well, something I find very interesting about the third quarter, it looked like the River Lions played much better basketball, maybe scored at a higher pace, but both of these teams with 25 points in the third frame. So really it goes back to the first and second quarter and how good Niagara played. So Windsor, with a lot of catching up to do here, they're going to need to be more efficient and take care of the basketball.
Scoop at the free throw line. He doesn't get it to fall. DeAndre Thomas cleans the board, and Jones quickly up the floor for Windsor. Got to get some points fast, and Springer at the cut for 2. That's a good start.
That's an important 2 points, and I'm going to tell you why. Niagara doubling up Windsor with points in the paint, or we're 52 to 26, now 28 for Windsor. So really, really much needed offense in the paint.
Commons with 19 first half points. Entry pass to Carl Hall. He's got a nice touch inside, and he scores for 2.
8 points now for Hall, who's feeling it here at the WFCU Center.
Springer. That ball is knocked away by Hall, and it will stay with the Windsor Express with 16 to shoot. 11:06 left in the fourth quarter. And it will be Warren Ward inbounding from the sideline for Windsor. Ward, high screen set by Giroux, splits the D to his right. Commons with the bump. Jardine knocks it loose, and Niagara goes the other way. Commons leaves it for Tyshawn, and he scores. Patterson for 2.
And the River Lions, Brett, now 22 points off turnovers to Windsor's 7.
And they move the ball up that floor fast.
Yeah, they've done it all game long.
DeAndre at the elbow. Springer, step back 3. Knocked out on the rebound. Jones with it. And he'll pull it back out. Set up the offense.
Zaglinski with good defense, cutting off the lane on Maurice Jones.
DeAndre will draw the foul on Carl Hall. The pump fake got Carl up in the air a little bit. In charge for the block foul. It'll be on the floor. Maurice Jones on the trigger for the Express. Down by 22, 83 to 61.
It's still shooting a shade below 40% from the field, so they're going to need a strong fourth quarter here, Brett.
DeAndre gets the shot to fall. Touches every part of the rim before it found the drain.
13 points now for the big man, number 2, DeAndre Thomas.
Carl Hall at the cup.
Oh,
And he scores.
nice finish. Athleticism, showing off some speed. Number 34, the big man.
Carl Hall comes up with the block on DeAndre Thomas. Quick pass up the floor to Jardine, over to Patterson. And just like that, 2 more points for Niagara.
And that all started with great defense. Carl Hall blocking DeAndre Thomas. So everything working for Niagara here after the 10 days of rest.
Ward loses it on the drive. Sammy Zaglinski picks it up. Over to Commons, and he scores for 2. 21 points for Chris.
We see a timeout here. Another 2 points in transition. Off fantastic defense again for Niagara. Playing great on both ends of the floor.
And I believe substitutions are coming in for Windsor. No, I believe Niagara thought there might have been a timeout, but it's just substitutions for Windsor. So our official had to usher the excited River Lions bench back. And Darren Duncan will check in for Maurice Jones now.
Yeah, Niagara really into this game, very enthusiastic. All of the players giving each other dabs, positive reinforcement. They look motivated here this afternoon.
I'd be excited to play after 10 days off, that's for sure.
And certainly when you're winning in someone else's house, I know that helps.
Evans, mid-range, knocks it down. And he continues his hot shooting percentage.
17 points, and like you said, hot shooting percentage, 8 of 11 from the field.
Scoop. Over to Carl Hall for the one-handed slam. Carl Hall fixes his glasses, gives a nod, adds 2 more points. And Tyshawn Patterson knocks away the ensuing inbound.
Going to be tough for Windsor to get back in this game with number 34, Carl Hall, coming off the bench and playing like this. 6-8 from the field, 12 points. He has been dynamic.
91-65, Niagara leads. At the elbow, Duncan gives it over to Nick Evans, and he collects the ball and goes off glass for 2.
Beautiful touch pass by Darren Duncan under the basket to Nick Evans.
Giroux couldn't finish, so Nick Evans scored on the second chance. Commons steps inside the three-point line, gives it over to Jardine, who drives, kicks. Sammy for 3. Just off to the right. I think it hit the bottom of the rim, so I wouldn't call it an air ball.
You know what? Zaglinski didn't really have his feet set there.
With 7:58 left to go, Niagara up by 24, 91-67.
And shooting a blistering 55.7% from the field, 39-70. Ultra efficient.
Evans gives it over to Duncan. Back to Wally. Inside to Nick. The low post, Nick Evans. Turn around. Can't knock it down. But a push foul going to be called on the rebound. On Wally Ellenson, I believe. That will be Wally, the guilty party. Third personal, team first of the frame. Jardine crossing the timeline. In the low post, collects. Working against Gernard Giroux. For the jumper, Jardine goes long.
And well defended there by Gernard Giroux, forcing Scoop to throw up the air ball.
Ellenson for 3. There he goes, his first of the night.
Yeah. 0-7 to start the game from downtown, but he stays with it and eventually makes number 30 Wally Ellenson with a much-needed 3 points for the Express.
7:11 left in the fourth quarter. The Windsor Express looking to go on a run out of this timeout. When we return, more Windsor Express basketball on Knockstrom.tv. Coming out of the timeout, the Niagara River Lions up by 21. They've got an ace-king on the Windsor Express right now, and alley-oop. Marcus Lewis with a nice adjustment there, but he can't finish it up. If he was able to even convert that basket, that would have been very, very impressive.
I would have fell out of my chair, and he does pick up the steal, though.
Looking to complete it on this play. And he steps out of bounds. And Paul Carter will assess the foul to Darren Duncan. It'll be Niagara ball on the baseline.
And interesting again, Brett, the scoring very close here in the fourth quarter. River Lions with 12, Windsor with 11 points.
Zaglinski on the catch and shoot, no good, but Sammy Muldrow keeps it alive with the offensive rebound. That one's knocked out of bounds by Nick Evans. With 6:30 to go, Express down by 21.
Riverline securing their 7th offensive rebound. 8th defensive rebound. They're +7 on the boards right now.
Trying to get that pass was Chris Commons, but coming up with the loose ball is Chris Commons. No, it squirts away to Wally Ellenson. On the run is Clinton Springer. Over to Ellenson for the reverse jam. And no foul, even though he hits the floor hard. Lewis the other way, and there will be a charging foul called. Darren Duncan stepping in front of that one.
Yeah, a veteran play by Darren Duncan, who spotted the River Lions moving in transition, firing up the court, so he just stepped in front, set his feet down, and drew that foul. And that was important because now the Windsor Express can try to work off that momentum from the earlier Wally Ellenson dunk.
Now down by 19 with 6:12 to go. A little bit of energy. Wally at the elbow, drives off the glass, doesn't get it to fall, but Gernard Giroux, no. That one's knocked away by Sam Muldrow. Amarty the other way and blocked by Ellenson. He came and swooped in there. Giroux picks it up, turns it over, Chris Commons. Over to Sammy, quick pass up to Amarty, blocked by Darren Duncan, and he commits the foul.
Unfortunate, Brett. It would seem that the Express were on the verge of taking the momentum back, maybe starting some kind of run here, but let's credit these Niagara River Lions. They have been scrappy today.
Absolutely, and have caused 16 Windsor Express turnovers, and have scored a bunch of points off of those turnovers, 22 to be exact.
And Windsor with just 9 points off of the River Lions turnover. So I think when this is all said and done, that's going to be a significant statistical category in the storyline of this game.
Amarty at the free throw line. And he gets it to fall for the first.
And of course, the River Lions 33 team assists, still 5:42 to go, so we certainly will probably see that number increase, but a significant day in terms of passing the basketball.
Amarty splits the pair of free throws. Maurice Jones directing traffic, looking down low to DeAndre Thomas. And a foul going to be assessed to Sam Muldrow. 5:31 to go play. Niagara up 92-72. Team 4th of the frame. Jones will inbound on the next possession. Patillo. High post entry to DeAndre. Sweeps through. Working against Sam Muldrow, and he'll draw another foul. DeAndre will go to the free throw line with 5:24 left in the fourth.
DeAndre using his body to create some space there and ends up drawing the foul. He is a tough load to handle in the painted area for any of these bigs.
Hence why Carl Hall going to check back into the game. Sam Muldrow checks out.
Muldrow putting in some tough minutes for the River Lions. Did pick up 5 fouls, but certainly helped out in other areas, that's for sure. Certainly with the 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He did get 2 points, so putting in some good minutes.
And that was Sammy's 6th, so he is out of the contest. So where Carl enters the game, DeAndre knocks down the first free throw.
I apologize, my doc stats said 5.
It's okay. DeAndre for the second. Knocking it down, making it 18 points even. 5:24 left in the fourth. Niagara looking to close out this victory. Windsor not going away easy as Lewis pulls it back, finds a cutting Chris Commons, and DeAndre Thomas has to commit the foul. Thought we might see a one-handed slam from Chris Commons there.
We did see a great pass from Marcus Lewis to Chris Commons, who is entering the lane. The communication here in terms of the ball facilitation for Niagara has been outstanding this afternoon.
Chris Commons looking to add 2 more points to his stat line for this evening. First member of the Windsor Express franchise to record 1,000 points. Still has the record for most games in a Windsor Express jersey. Second behind him is Kevin Loisel. Allenson over to Duncan. He's at the three-point line. Crosses over at the elbow, rises and shoots, converts for two.
Beautiful little elbow jumper there for Darren Duncan.
17 points. Lewis gets it over to Commons to break the pressure. Lewis gets a screen from Hall. Lewis inside the key, kicks it out to Zaglinski. He stops at the elbow, finds a cutting Carl Hall for two.
Yeah, all of the defense on the eyes of Sammy Zaglinski from that elbow. That's a shot he's going to hit all day, finding the open teammate on the block.
Juan Patillo. At the elbow. Cannot convert. Sammy Zaglinski with the rebound. Zaglinski. Fouled by DeAndre. And DeAndre commits the foul. 2 straight fouls on DeAndre. And Sammy Zaglinski will go to the free throw line with 4:07 left in the fourth quarter. Zaglinski has been a fantastic player. Played at Virginia. He's really close to a triple-double tonight.
Yeah, 10 points, 8 boards, and 8 assists.
He's at the point guard spot now. Sammy gets himself out of the double team. Carl Hall enters the key off the glass. The follow-up no good. DeAndre outlets it to a running Juan Patillo, and he will draw the foul. Amarty and Lewis tried to stop Juan, and Amarty going to be called for the foul. 3:49 left in the fourth.
Darren Duncan talking things over with the troops. Communication been great for the Windsor Express, just struggling a little bit with efficiency in terms of the shooting. 29-70 for 41%, 5-20 from downtown for 25%.
And he misses the first free throw.
But I'll tell you what, it's going to be tough to beat the River Lions, Brett, when they scoring 66 points in the paint with 3:49 remaining in the fourth. They have really been good there.
And of course, we will see the Niagara River Lions next Saturday here on Knoxstrom.tv. They'll travel back to Windsor. So the River Lions are going to be on the minds of the Windsor Express for the duration of their break.
So will Chris Commons with the 22 points, 5 assists, and 4 boards, putting up similar numbers to what we've seen here in Windsor nightly.
Jardine leaves it for Hall. Darren Duncan makes a play on the ball, and Hall puts it off the backboard. It will be Windsor basketball. Duncan up the floor quickly for Ellenson for three. Yes.
Just like that, Wally Ellenson feeling it.
And it's 95-80. 2 3 balls for Wally in the fourth. Jardine enters the lane and scores off glass for 2. What a skilled player and finish.
And the defender doing everything he could on the block there, but Scoop Jardine showing a lot of control, using the backboard to finish that play.
Duncan inside to DeAndre. He faces up on Hall, spins, has the ball stolen by Marcus Lewis. Up the floor, Marcus Lewis crams it home.
Wally Ellenson made every attempt he could to block that shot. Marcus Lewis off the steal, finished at the rim in transition. And this River Lions team is going crazy.
And Niagara's bench going to be assessed the technical for taunting.
And I think they'll gladly take it at this point.
Absolutely. They're up 99-80 with 2:45 to go in the fourth quarter.
You wonder, Brett, if this is a bit of a breakout game here for this Niagara River Lions team. We've seen the same sort of thing at the Clash of the Coliseum with Windsor. You know, could this be the game that the River Lions were waiting for after the 10-day break? You bring in Scoop Jardine, and all of a sudden, this team's shooting 52% from the field and scoring 70-plus points in the paint.
Huge numbers for the Niagara River Lions. Ellenson driving, and he's blocked by Carl Hall. Second chance by Juan Patillo is blocked by Chris Commons, but a foul is going to be called. And Juan Patillo will go to the line for 2. 2:39 left in the fourth. And Noel Moffat will come off the bench for the Windsor Express. Moffat. Juan Patillo.
Juan Patillo, such an efficient shooter, Brett. Over 50% from the field. Makes the first free throw. And the second. 14 points, 6 boards, 2 assists.
And Darren Duncan checks out of the contest for Moffat. And Jardine with the basketball with 2:30 to play in the fourth. Giroux will step off the bench for the Express shortly. Jardine driving baseline. 3 to shoot. Finds Carl Hall at the cup. And a foul going to be called on DeAndre Thomas in the middle of the key.
And everything really working for Niagara, Brett, in terms of the guards or forwards passing it into the paint. There we see once again Scoop Jardine find the open man under the basket. Really good communication and passing by the River Lions.
DeAndre Thomas and Chris Commons having a conversation on the floor. And Carl Hall with a pair of free throws coming. He's been impressive tonight. He converts that first one.
Impressive and efficient. 7 of 11 from the field, double-digit points. Now making free throws. He's been really, really good for Niagara.
Hall converts. Tyshawn Patterson's late to come in for the sub, so he'll have to wait. Jones. Ellenson fakes the defender out and converts his third triple. But you got to wonder, with only 2 minutes to go here, was it too little too late for the Windsor Express?
We knew with Wally Ellenson he would eventually get it going, but like you said, Brett, really, really a late time for him to start making these triples, but they certainly help.
15 points to deficit now with 1:45. Jardine at the cup. A phenomenal finish from Scoop Jardine. And that will prompt the substitution for Tyshawn Patterson. Chris Commons checking out. Patterson's gonna have to wait. I'm confused. 1:42 left here in the fourth quarter, and Jardine will commit the foul on Maurice Jones. 103 to 86, and that will prompt the substitution for Chris Commons, who had a phenomenal game for the Niagara River Lions tonight. Finishes with 22 points, 19 big ones in the first half.
Yeah, and then the 5 assists and the 4 boards. So really doing it everywhere for Niagara, including on the defensive end.
Picking up a couple steals as well. Getting the play going in transition. And converting those two are Maurice Jones. With 1:40 to play, Windsor down by 15. Jardine. Patterson driving baseline. Leaves it for Carl Hall. That goes off the front rim. Thought there might have been a travel call there. Patillo on the run. Finishes for 2. And Noel Moffat comes up with a steal. Launches a 3 off the rim. Would have been a 10-point game had he knocked that one down.
Juan Patillo becomes the Express's leading scorer with 17.
Patterson. Tyshawn Patterson over to a high screen there. High shot goes off the rim there by number 23, Josiah Moore. On the run is Maurice Jones, 11-point deficit for the Express.
And the crowd getting behind Maurice Jones with the athletic finish at the rim.
Up the floor is Patterson. He loses it. Loose ball. Ellenson up the floor to Jones. He's going to get 3.
Oh,
it's
boy.
good.
Oh, boy.
8-point game. And a timeout going to be called by Grozlakole. Smart job by head coach. That will advance the ball from the baseline to the front court. He's got to be wondering, what can he do to close out the Windsor Express now? They're getting a little bit of steam heading up, but like I said, Kobe, they're only 33 seconds to play.
Yeah, not much time, but you got to give the Windsor Express some props here for not going out easy and making it respectable, certainly cutting it from double digits to where we've seen it at 20 and over 20 points here. So Windsor not going away quietly, that's for sure.
After matching the Niagara River Lions in the third quarter, 25-25, the Windsor Express currently outscoring Niagara 36-24, getting this game within 8 points. So this can get pretty interesting here coming out of the timeout.
Absolutely. If there's a turnover, and then a quick basket by Windsor or a three-point play, they seem to be energized and motivated right now to make this thing a legitimate contest, and I think they've done that. So it's been interesting, that's for sure. But it all goes back to the lack of scoring in the first and second quarter, and that has been the storyline to where Windsor has struggled this year. When they've played great basketball in the first half and haven't had to come out of a deficit going into the third, really, really good things have happened.
But from what I understand, it is a trend that Niagara has struggled in the second half of games, closing out victories. Maybe that could be a contributing factor to the 5-11 start. Nothing comes easy in this league. Niagara looking to close out their 6th win of the year, only 35 seconds away.
But you see Maurice Jones on the floor, who's playing really good right now. Wally Ellenson, who got it going. You got Jannard Giroux with some length. And certainly Juan Patillo is as efficient as they come. And Noel Moffett getting to close this thing out. Pretty cool.
Elliot Mason going to inbound the ball. First appearance we've seen of him in this game, and he gets it to Tyshawn Patterson.
Chew up some clock.
And Patterson gets the foul on Jones. So he'll go to the free throw line for 2. That's Maurice's 4th foul. And that's a bonus situation for Niagara. So coming back into the game, number 23, Josiah Moore. So Tyler Murray checks out. And we might see a situation where Niagara just fouls Windsor in order to get possession back. They've got Elliot Mason and Moore on, who both have not contributed much in this game. Got fouls to give for both those players.
Absolutely. I think you're bang on the money there.
And so to prompt battle that, Bill Jones will call timeout and advance the ball to the front court. Kobe K, any thoughts?
Well, I think it's been an interesting finish here, and it looked like this thing was really getting away from the Windsor Express, but obviously not going away quietly, as Coach Bill Jones will have to pull out his evil genius here to micromanage the last 28 seconds and change here in the fourth quarter. And if they can look for some quick scoring and get that basketball back, hey, man, you just never know in this league.
Absolutely. The Niagara River Lions up 105-95. It's been an exciting afternoon, and we want to make sure you join us on Knoxstrom TV tomorrow for London Lightning basketball. It's going to be an awesome time. We know that they packed the place at Budweiser Gardens. It should be an awesome afternoon of basketball in London tomorrow.
Well, not only do they pack the place, but they score 116 a game, so you know they're fun to watch. I believe they've won 10 straight. I mean, they are definitively right now the best team in the Central. So always a fun time at the Budweiser Gardens.
Of course, we're going to be back here next Saturday as well for a rematch of these two teams on Knoxstrom.tv, Saturday, February 25th. So we invite you to join us for that contest as well. But for now, we've still got 28.5 to play here in the fourth.
I think Niagara is in good shape getting it back to double digits. I think that was important with the 10-point lead, but we'll see what Windsor's got cooking and up their sleeve.
Jones inbound it to Giroux. Looking for Ellenson. Nope, it's Moel Moffett. Inside the key, loses it, knocked away, and it will be Windsor ball on the baseline.
Yeah, fortunately for the Express, they maintained possession, but lost some valuable seconds.
Lost about 7 seconds on that play, and Noel Moffett catches and shoots. That's off the mark. Giroux with the loose ball. Jones with the loose ball is blocked by Carl Hall, and that will draw a foul by Jardine. A few more seconds come off the clock for Niagara as Jardine will head to the free throw line. Scoop, and what a pickup Scoop has been.
Yeah, I'm strongly considering going down there and looking for a fan autograph and picture with my man, number 14, Scoop Jardine. He's got 14 points, 6 assists, 4 boards, 7 of 15 from the field. I mean, he's looked spectacular. And first time in uniform, I believe, for the Niagara River Lions. What an asset for a team that is as talented as they are, that struggle with injuries. To pick up a player of his caliber could be an X factor in the terms of the rest of this season and the playoffs, should they get there.
Absolutely. With 10 teams now in the league.
Yeah, we don't know how that's going to all end up. We know that Halifax and London are the top of the food chain right now, with Windsor creeping up the ladder.
Absolutely. Windsor getting themselves to 9-11 thanks to a 4-game winning streak. Well, with 15 seconds left, that's about to be broken as Niagara has kicked off some rust after a 10-day break, and we'll have one more Windsor possession with 8.6 seconds to go. A well-deserved victory over the Windsor Express for Niagara, where they had a phenomenal first half of basketball, and they followed it up with some consistent play in the second. Noel Moffat for 3.
So after missing an important key shot, Noel Moffat responds with a big triple.
And that will do it, folks. Niagara comes away 107-98 with the victory. They go 3-0 against the Windsor Express to start the regular season. I'd like to thank our sponsors of Windsor Express basketball, of course, Mastro Kitchen Studio, and of course, DSB Water Basement Waterproofing and Concrete Raising. Make sure you get in touch with them for all of your kitchen and basement waterproofing and concrete raising needs. We thank you all for tuning in on YouTube this afternoon and Knockstrom.tv's production of Windsor Express basketball. Niagara improves to 6-11. Windsor falls to 9-12. We're going to head down to courtside with Justin Prince in just a moment here on Knockstrom.tv. Thank you for tuning in, folks. For the rest of us here, we'll see you Saturday. And in
Welcome, everyone, to the Knockstrom postgame. I'm Justin Prince, and, well, the best way to describe that game, the River Lions basically dominated for most of that matchup tonight. 107-98 was the final score tonight, as Niagara, once again, after a 10-game daybreak, wins their 7th game of the season. I'm Justin Prince here with the Knockstrom postgame once again, and it was, the best way to describe it, it was a blowout for much of this matchup tonight here for the Windsor Express, as they lost big time here, shooting 44% from the field and struggling for much of the game to capitalize on the 19 turnovers they forced tonight, with 11 points off turnovers here in this afternoon game here at the WSU Center. Overall, if you look at the stats for both of these teams right now, it was an absolute dominating performance from Chris Commons with 22 points along with 5 assists and 4 rebounds, 9 of 13 shooting from him, as he was one of the top performers. But then you have Marcus Lewis, who is trying to jump and dunk his team to the victory today. It seemed putting 2 players on posters today, with Nick Evans and Wally Ellenson being dunked on by him today. Good performances from those two. Meanwhile, from the Express, Juan Patillo with 17 points to lead to be second in scoring, for Windsor, along with 10 rebounds for the double-double, and Nick Evans leading the way with 19 points and 5 rebounds. Overall, if you want my opinion on this game, it was not a pretty matchup to watch, that's for sure. It was a struggle on the offensive end for much of this matchup for Windsor. 44% shooting, as I mentioned. Niagara finished with 51%, as they were up by double digits for most of this matchup. The only time Windsor outscored their opponents in a quarter was in this fourth quarter, 39-28 overall, although they were even at 25 in the previous quarter. It was just one of those games where Niagara dominated Windsor tonight after retooling their lineup with multiple changes over the past couple days coming into this one. And Windsor has their 4-game winning streak snapped here at home. So with this loss here, Windsor will move to 9-12 on the season, and Niagara with just their 6th victory of the season as things start to take shape in the division standings across the league. And speaking of across the league, we had a few different games going on today here on this beautiful Sunday. Overall, St. John ended up beating Moncton 101-87, as Moncton had a decent performance overall, but St. John dominated for much of the way. Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cape Breton, that game's coming down to the wire. Last score checked, it was 96-94, as the two expansion squads fight down at the Auditorium, down in Kitchener, the odd, pardon me. And Orangeville and Halifax are still going on. Halifax is currently up. Last night was available score 59-51, as the defending MBLC champions look to beat one of the top teams in the Central Division this season in Orangeville. We'll be back here with Knoxstrom Digital Media here down in London tomorrow at Budweiser Gardens, as the London Lightning take on Halifax in a matchup of the top teams in the league right now, division-wise. That should be a fun one to watch, and be sure to catch that down there once it gets started tomorrow for Family Day on the 20th for an afternoon tip-off for the London Lightning. This has been a post-game recap, from Justin Pritz here with Knoxstrom Digital Media, providing media excellence in southwestern Ontario. You've been watching the Windsor Express take on the Niagara River Lions. Tonight, Niagara comes up on top overall. Have a great afternoon, folks, as this wraps things up here from the WFCU Center.